Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Today we're going to be doing a US Open doubles preview for you. We definitely want you to be watching as much of the doubles draw as possible. So we're going to get you familiar with each draw, familiar with some of the names, some of the teams, and some of the storylines to follow. And I am joined by Hanlon Walsh today. Hanlon, welcome.
Good to be back as always. Pumped for the US Open and a lot of exciting doubles news that we found out this weekend. So excited to chat.
Awesome. Yeah, there is a lot of exciting news, and I think we kind of have to start with Venus and Serena. They decided, what was it, yesterday, to play like really last minute because the draw came out today. We're recording this on Sunday, August 28th. And yeah, uh I was very excited to do that. It's going to be great for doubles and fun to watch them again.
Yeah, it was exciting to see their name on the wild card list that the USTA released over the weekend. I know we had talked, offline about whether or not they would play or wouldn't play, and I was kind of leaning towards them not playing, and just like you said, Serena, wanting to really prioritize her singles, but I was really
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised to see them in on the entry list as wild cards, and no doubt in my mind that that'll be a Arthur Ashe, or should be an Arthur Ashe night session match. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll definitely try to get in and attend to that one. But yeah, it should be Ash. Maybe they would do like Louis Armstrong or something like that. Just because it is doubles and maybe Rafa has a singles match or something, but we'll see. But it'll be cool. And they got a decent draw as well. First round they have Hradečka, and she's playing with a Czech girl that I am not familiar with, Linda Noskova.
Yeah, she's a
Because
young, I think she's 17. She's one of a couple of Czech teenagers who qualified and that are really touted as young teenagers. So it's a bummer that Sania Mirza, who is Lucy's regular partner this year, isn't able to play since she got injured. But this will be a fun matchup, I think, because not only do they have the young, talented Czech teenager, but Lucy Hradečka is a really accomplished doubles player and has had several big matches with Venus and Serena over the last 10 years. In 2012, Venus and Serena beat Lucy Hradečka and her partner Andrea, who recently retired as well, in the Wimbledon final, and then a few weeks later in the Olympics, both on grass. So they're very familiar with one another.
Yeah, yeah. So that'll be fun to watch. Then second round, they might likely have Guarachi and Claypock, who are the 13 seeds here. And then
Although
if
they,
they can upset them, then they would be probably against the top seeds, Kudermetova and Mertens. But with Serena and Venus, like I really, I don't know. Like I could see them making a deep run. I really could. Like I don't think either of them can do it individually on the singles court anymore, but on the doubles court, like I think they could figure it out.
yeah, I definitely think so. And yeah, like you said, they do have a very manageable draw for being, an unseeded team. It could have certainly been a lot tougher, and not that it'll be tough first round for sure. But if they're able
Hmm.
to get past first round, get some form, get some confidence, I think their second round match could very much be winnable against either Grachi and Claypock or Shelby Rogers and Annette Kontaveit. I would love to see them at least make it to the round of 16 and have a matchup with the top seeds, Kudermetova and Elise Mertens. That would be
Hmm.
fun and just interesting to see how the game styles balance each other and match up against between all power of Serena and Venus and aggressive net play versus sort of the craftiness of Elise Mertens and Veronika Kudermetova.
Yeah, yeah, that would be fun to watch. But there's let's step back and look at the women's draw overall. I mean, there's really, I feel like fewer guarantees on the women's side. Like if I have to put my money on one team on either side to say like make the semifinal, I'd probably put my money on Rajiv and Joe. Uh, I guess, uh, well, Siniakova and Krijikova maybe, but other than them, there's really no guarantees. And Kudermetova Mertens, even though they're the top seed, second round, they are facing potentially a team that they lost to earlier this year at Indian Wells. So there's really no guarantees, and it's kind of an open draw from my perspective.
Yeah, it is. And, I know Nicole, Melikar, Martinez, and Ellen Perez mentioned that when we talked to them on the grounds in Toronto, just how, open the field is right now. And a lot of the teams really haven't played together for super long. We talked about this also, but the 8 teams that qualified for the WTA finals last year, I'm pretty sure that Krijikova and Siniakova are the only team that are actively playing together right now. Everyone else is either split up or, been injured or have other off court things going on. So there's certainly been a lot of shakeup at the top of the women's doubles game.
Yeah, there definitely has been. So when we're looking at this, we've got Kudermetova and Mertens up at the top. If we scroll down through here, teams to watch out for. So the 3 seeds, which are in the top half, is Krijikova and Siniakova. Even though they're the 3 seed, I'd say they have to be probably the pick to win it. They've lost only 1 match that has been completed since last October, so almost a full year, and they've lost 1 completed match. They did lose in Qatar with a retirement, and it was a few weeks ago in Cincinnati when Melikar and Perez, who you just mentioned and who we chatted with a few weeks ago, did beat them in straight sets in Cincinnati. So that was their first complete match loss in nearly a year, which is unbelievable. And then if we continue to scroll down, we've got Asia Muhammad and Ina Shibahara, who made a great run at Indian Wells earlier this year. Gabby Dabrowski and Juliana Olmos, Julie Shu and her partner Yang, who won Indian Wells in the bottom half, Kravchuk and Schurz in the bottom half, and then Golf and Pagula, who we got to watch in Toronto as well.
Yeah, I think going back to what you're saying about Siniakova and Krijikova, they will be going for the career Grand Slam this year at the U.S. Open. They've already won 5 majors together, an Olympic gold medal, and the Billie Jean King Cup title. So I believe they're both 26. So they could have a very long doubles career together if they keep playing. And I think if they've already won 5 majors, age 26, we see people, especially in doubles, playing into their mid to late 30s or even 40s. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep this up, how they stack up to some of the all-time doubles greats whenever they decide to retire, because they look like they're well on their way to being up there with Venus and Serena or Navratilova and Shriver.
Yeah, it's really incredible how dominant they've been, and it's not a story that people talk a lot about. But yeah, anytime I look at the rankings, I'm just blown away at like they're all always, I mean, they'd probably be 1-2 or close to it right now if Wimbledon didn't get rid of their points because they won Wimbledon. But you look at it and you look at the top 10 or 20 and they're all playing like 20 plus matches, and then they're playing like 8 and 11 or something. It's really wild what they're able to do. But I wanted to touch a little bit on the doubles race. So this is kind of a fun story personally that I like to follow is this race to the WTA finals. The top 8 teams get in, and it has been kind of crazy. I mean, you'll see a lot of people in the top 15 twice with different partners, or top 20. And right now, what I'll do here is read off, let's say 6 through about 14 or so. So we've got at 6, we have Demi Schurz and Desiree Kravchuk. 7 is Krijikova and Siniakova. 8 is Haddad Maia and Danilina, who made the finals in Australia. And I think won a tournament before that leading up. So they had a really good start to the year, but they've fallen off and are now almost outside the top 8. Then Garcia Modinovitch, who won the French Open, Mirza and Hradečka. So they're going to be out for sure since Mirza's not going to be playing. And then we have Melikar, Martinez, and Perez, who have been the hottest team the past 3 weeks. They've made 3 consecutive finals and just one in Cleveland. Then we have Hazumi and Ninomaya, who I have not had a chance to watch a lot of, but they, like I said earlier, they upset Mertens and Kudermetova, I believe, at Indian Wells in the first round this year. And a few other teams as we go down the list. Asia Muhammad and Ina Shibahara are in the draw. And I think that's it as far as teams that are actually in the US Open draw that have a shot at this top 8. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the draw, and who all can kind of make a statement and make a push to that top 8.
Yeah. And I think looking at the top 5, Gabby Dabrowski and Juju Omos are number 1. And I think that speaks a lot to their consistency. They've, been playing together since the very beginning of the year. I think have, consistently made it to the quarters and semis of a lot of big tournaments. And I think they're just looking for that big major win together, or major, semifinals or finals, because they've come up a little bit short in the round of 16 in both Wimbledon and Roland Garros. So I'd love to see them make a deep run here in New York as well. Kichenok and Ostapenko are number 2. We got Pegula and Goff at number 3, Mertens and Kudermetova at number 4, and then Zhu and Yang at number 5.
Yeah, so it'll we'll see how the draw unfolds. I'm sure there will be some big kind of quarterfinal, semifinal matchups that might have implications on this. And I'll definitely be tweeting about that as it kind of unfolds, like I said. But again, the main storyline on the women's side before you get to the men's is definitely Serena and Venus. I'm really excited to watch them play.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a few other teams to look out for too. Caroline Garcia and Christina Modinovich, they're the number 14 seeds. They won Roland Garros this year, so look out for them in the draw. Sam Stosur is defending her 2021 title, and she's playing, I believe, with Letitia Chan.
Yeah, that's
one
right.
of the Chan sisters. She's unseeded, so they could be a sleeper, potentially play Krauchik and Demi Schurz in the second round if they both win. And then lastly, at the bottom of the draw, one team that I'm really excited to see is Katie Mcnally and Taylor Townsend. Mcnally obviously made the finals here last year with Coco, and Taylor Townsend has had a lot of double success in her career, most recently partnering with Maddie Keys in the Roland Garros doubles tournament, making the semifinals. So if all goes as planned, we could potentially see Katie Mcnally and Taylor Townsend against Goff and Pegula in the round of 16, which would be really interesting to see Makoko playing against each other on different sides of the net.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, if Mcnally and Townsend can get past, it looks like first round, they shouldn't have a problem, and then play Rutleff and Rizolska, who have been pretty good throughout the summer.
Yeah, they have had a good summer.
So that'll be a really good second round matchup to watch out for. But yeah, that would be super fun to watch those two go at it. Awesome. So anything else before we get to the men's draw?
I would say the last thing is, Coco and Jessica Pegula may not have they certainly don't have an easy first round against Leylah Fernandez and Daria Seville. So that, if nothing else, I think that'll be just a really fun match with 4 well-known, top singles players who have each had, their own singles and doubles success. I would expect Goff and Pegula to get through that, but, definitely a more difficult first round than they could have had.
Yeah, definitely so. Cool. Well, we'll see how this shakes out, and we'll definitely be, if you're listening and you want to watch and follow along, follow me, follow Hanlon, follow Tennis Tribe on Twitter, and we're gonna have all the daily matchups to watch on the women's side, as well as the men's side. So for the men, we've got, we've talked about this, and you mentioned it earlier. It's just been a lot more consistent on the men's side, less injuries, a lot of people playing with the same partners. Rajiv and Joe are at the top of the bracket at number 1. And there's a bunch of different storylines. Nick Monroe just announced that this will be his last tournament. He's been on the podcast before. And we've got the race to the ATP finals in London as well. So there will be a lot of matchups with implications there. Mektic and Pavic are down to the 6th seed, which is still weird to me after seeing a 1 by their name for so long, to see them all the way down at 6. A lot of good stories here. What are you most excited about on the men's side?
There's several first round, potential popcorn matchups, upset alerts to be on the lookout for. And the first one that really caught my eye was Jack Sock and Tommy Paul against Ivan Dodig and Austin
Right.
Krajicek.
Yeah.
Anytime you see Jack Sock in a doubles draw, I think, if I'm a seeded player, he's the last name that I want to see in my section of the draw. So I think that'll be a great match. And I would give the slight edge to Jack Sock and Tommy Paul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would imagine if we were to look at Vegas odds or something, they would be favored, even though Dodig and Krajicek are the 7th seed. And looking at so round 3, they have the 10 seed Jamie Murray and Bruno Suarez, who have not had the best year, although they did get a couple of wins in Cincinnati a few weeks ago, which was great to see. And that could be another. Bruno mentioned on the podcast about a month ago how he's getting a little older. He's 40, I believe, and that could be another retirement coming soon. But yeah, the draw is definitely pretty open for Paul and Sock. I mean, obviously, there's no easy matchups on the men's side. Um, I feel like there's a lot more doubles depth, if you will, but yeah, it's definitely a favorable draw for Sock to make a deep run for sure.
Yeah, and I think at the slams, playing out the full third set definitely favors the better team, or the seeded
Yeah,
team typically. So
yeah.
you may maybe we'll see less upsets at the U.S. Open than we have the past few weeks on some of these tour events. But Jack Sock is arguably the best individual doubles player in the world, according to a lot of the media and just other people who have been around the tour for a
Mm-hmm.
while. He also got a win against Dodig and Krajicek in the City Open with Kyrgios, so he's got some momentum. And then Dodig and Krajicek have had several good runs this summer at Roland Garros and some of the hardcore tournaments, but then they've lost actually their last 3 first round matches leading up to the U.S. Open, so they're not really coming in with very much momentum. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm going to make a semi-bold pick and go with Jack Sock and Tommy Paul, who's also been
Yeah.
in terrific singles form this summer.
Yeah, Andy's a good doubles player. He's had some
Mm-hmm.
runs at some Grand Slams and doubles, some quarterfinal runs. So he is a good doubles player as well. Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of implications for the ATP race. So I'm looking at the race right now. So we've got some locks, right? Koolhof, Skupski are 1, and it's not that close. They have, I think, 5 or 6 titles on the year. It's insane.
I think
And
it's
then
6.
6, okay. And then Arevalo, Rogier, who won the French, Rajiv Ram, Joe Salisbury are at 3, Granollers, Zeballos at 4, Mektic, Pavic at 5, and then at 6, Kokonakis and Kyrgios. I think they are catchable for some of these teams outside the top 8. Poots and Venus, Glasspool, Heliovara. And then number 9 is Bolelli and Fagnini. All of these teams are actually in the draw. Whereas, like I said, on the women's side, you look at the top 15 and there's only maybe 7 of them. So it'll be interesting to see which of these teams can make a deep run into week 2 of this tournament.
Yeah, Koolhof and Skupski, definitely another team to watch. They've won 6 ATP titles already this year, and they both actually have a mixed doubles major under their belt. So I believe that they have more titles than anyone else on tour right now in 2022 in singles,
Mm-hmm.
doubles, and mix. So that's very impressive. I'm looking at their the ATP website right now, and they not only are they first in the race by a long shot, but they have a 45-14 record on the year, which is about 75 give or take percent. So
Mm-hmm.
really impressive year for them. But again, they're, I think, similar to some other teams that we've talked about. They're just looking for that first major together, and maybe this could be the one.
Yeah. Yeah, and for people who want some good first round matchups, they play Query and Steve Johnson in the first round, and I don't know it'll be super close, but I can promise you it'll be entertaining. Steve Johnson is always a lot of fun to watch, and he and Query have a lot of fun on the doubles court together. So that will definitely be one to check out. As I scroll up, Gonzalez. Go ahead.
Well, going back to Steve and Sam too, they made the semifinals here in 2021 and also in 2015. So I know neither of them are probably in their peak career form, but they're definitely not a team to sleep on in the first round. And speaking
Mhm.
of some of the retirement conversations that we've had throughout this episode, I would not be surprised at all if Sam Querrey announces his retirement after the U.S. Open or maybe later this year. I know he was given wild cards, and his ranking has dipped a little bit. He hasn't had a great year, so wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if he hangs up the rackets this year also.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. Yeah. And then if we scroll up, Ebden and Purcell play Gonzalez and Molteni in the first round, the 14 seeds. So that's a great matchup. Let's see.
It's kind of surprising that Ebden and Purcell, and then again, I forgot about the Wimbledon ranking points, to
Yeah.
see them unseeded in a draw after winning Wimbledon, but that's, the downside for all the Wimbledon winners
Right.
not have gotten those ranking points.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a huge impact, right? They wouldn't be facing a seed in the first round, so both teams kind of get a tough draw because of that. Um, but Pana and Middle Cop or Middle Coop are the 9 seed. We've got Chris Eubanks playing with the former Florida star Ben Shelton. That'll be a fun team to watch for sure. Hopefully they can win a round or two. They're all in Granollers and Zeballos quarter. And then an interesting one that you mentioned before we started recording was Arevalo and Roger first round. So they played John Peers and Alexei Poprin. And I watched John Peers in Montreal a couple weeks ago, and he is playing super well. I watched his first round win against Murray and Suarez, and um, he went on to make the finals of the tournament, I believe. And he's playing with another Australian, Alexei Poprin, who's more of a singles guy, but that's a tough first round matchup if you're the 3 seed.
Yeah, that's 3 top 10 doubles players squaring off in the first round, which is unfortunate for really both teams, but especially I
Yeah.
would say for Cello and Roger. They've had some tough draws this summer since they won Roland Garros. I think they've lost to Jack Sock in the first round of 2 different tournaments. So that's
Mm-hmm.
never a good first round draw like we just talked about. So they could certainly use a little bit of momentum too. But I think, like you said, John Peers has had really strong summer. He made the finals in Montreal, and then I also got to see him in Atlanta playing with Jason Kubler. I saw them win a very impressive semifinal match, and then they ended up losing a tight final to Kyrgios and Kokkinakis in an all Aussie final that the Atlanta fans were all about. So I think that could be a potential first round upset as well.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely could. Yeah, and then when I'm scrolling up here, so we've got Kravitz and Meese. So they are sitting. I watched them practice in Montreal, and they're fantastic to watch as well. So they are sitting at number 10 in the race. So this is a big tournament for them. They're trying to crack into that top 8, and they play the All-American team of Giron and McDonald in the first round. And overall have a pretty straightforward draw for the first several rounds until they're in Mektic and Pavic's quarter. So that would be a really good third round matchup. And then let's see. Kokkinakis and Kyrgios have Glasspool and Heliovara in their quarter.
They
Raven
also play each other
Clausen and
first round in singles too, which will be fun to watch.
okay. Oh yeah, yeah. Interesting. Okay. Raven Clausen and Mello are also in that quarter. So a good veteran doubles team there. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, Tommy Paul Jack Sock versus Dodig and Krajicek is the best first round matchup. That will be a lot of fun to watch. Any other storylines that you're following before we get to maybe a couple of picks for each draw?
I think just some of the teams trying to regain some form, like we talked about, like Mektic and Pavic are seeded 6. They've kind of had a a peaks and valleys type of year.
Yeah.
Another team that we haven't mentioned yet, who has a much lower seed than you would expect from the past few years, is Cabal and Farrah. I think they could certainly use a good tournament here. So just we'll see what. And then you said Murray and Suarez, they've not had a great year in terms of their career caliber in the past. So some of these veteran teams just trying to regain some momentum and form as we close out the year, the next few months.
Yeah, definitely. And Murray just won Winston-Salem. I forgot who he was playing with, but I guess
that
Bruno
was with
took
Matt Ebden.
Okay, yeah, that's right. So yeah, I saw that. So that's encouraging for them. I guess Bruno was resting up for the US Open. And then another thing to look at is, we've talked about how good Koolhof and Skupski have been, but I don't think they've made a huge run in any of the majors, really. Have they made it past the quarter of any of the majors? Maybe a semifinal, but for a team with 6 titles, you'd think, and leading the race by that much, you'd think that they would have a major under their belt, but they really haven't been a huge threat there.
Yeah, that is a really good point. They I'm looking at their record now. It looks like they made it to the quarters at Aussie Open, quarters at Roland Garros, and then lost in the round of 16 at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
So certainly not a bad doubles year by any means, but for a team who's won 6 titles on the ATP tour, you would think that the slams that they would have at least have made one semi or a final so far. So I think they'll be itching to get that monkey off their back.
Yeah, definitely so. All right, so let's do a couple of picks. Who do you got on the men's side?
I'm gonna go Ram and Salisbury. I think they were another team that has had a really consistent year, and then just won a big title in Cincinnati, and they've come up really short. They lost a heartbreaker in Wimbledon, and I think it's I think they're due for a US Open title.
Awesome. Yeah, safe pick there, but probably a good one.
Really going out on a limb there.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Koolhof and Skupski. I think they've been the best team throughout this year. And for whatever reason, it hasn't worked out at majors, but I think that they're gonna figure it out. I think over time, the best team is gonna rise to the top, and I think they have been the best team this year. So I'm gonna go with them. Teams to watch for. Well, let's say a dark horse team, and you're not allowed to pick Paul and Sock.
Dark horse team. That's a good. I don't know if this. I mean, they could be a dark horse or more just definitely a fan favorite. And you mentioned them earlier, but Chris Eubanks and Ben Shelton, I think, will be a lot of fun to watch. And they honestly, both have a lot of momentum coming in singles. Ben Shelton's had a bunch of big wins, got a wild card, and then Chris Eubanks qualified, won 3 matches in a row, a couple of really tight 3-setters. And they both, former collegiate tennis players. Ben Shelton just announced that he's going to go pro and won't be going back to play in the NCAAs next year. So I think they'll definitely be a fun U.S. wildcard team to watch, regardless of how far they go. But that was another team that will definitely stick out to fans.
Yeah, I'm gonna say just because it's the U.S. Open, and I know the crowd just always gets behind these U.S. teams. Kudla and Tiafoe is interesting to me. Like, they're both more singles players, but they do play some doubles. Tiafoe's had some decent doubles results over the years playing with Nick Monroe and a few other players. And I could just picture them in my head making a run in doubles and the crowd just really getting behind them and them both like embracing that and getting into it with the crowd. So I'm going to go with them. They do not have an easy first round matchup against Bublik and Rune, but I'm going to pick them for my unseeded non-Jack Sock dark horse.
Yeah, I don't know if we can count Jack Sock as a dark horse, even though he's not seeded these days, but he would be an easy one to pick. But yeah, I think Francis, he brings such high energy, and the crowds love him everywhere he goes, but especially in New York, he'll be a big fan favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so who's your pick on the women's side?
I think this is, isn't going out on a limb either, but got to go with the number 3 seeds, Krijikova and Siniakova. I think they'll win here and get the career Grand Slam. I wanted, part of me wanted to say Goff and Pegula, but I have a feeling that at least one of them will make it pretty far in singles. And even, maybe different because they get days off as opposed to like we saw them in Toronto and Pegula was pulling, double shifts. Really, both of them were pulling double shifts several days in a row. But I like Krijikova and Siniakova to get there. I don't think they'll make it as far in singles, and they've got a lot more experience winning at Grand Slams than any other team in this draw besides Venus and Serena.
Right.
So that's my pick.
Yeah. So Krijikova and Siniakova, at the Australian Open, they dropped 1 set. It was in the finals. The French Open, they didn't play. Wimbledon, they dropped 1 set in the quarterfinals. They've lost 1 match in the last like 11 months. Yeah, I'm picking them too. I think you have to. They're just way too good. If you are a club player listening to this and you want to improve your net game, watch Katerina Siniakova. And even like during the point, don't watch the ball, just watch her. She is
terrifying.
Yeah, she's unbelievable. So that's my pick as well. For we'll call it a dark horse, non-Serena Venus pick.
I would say in this, they've had such a good summer, so I don't even know if you would consider them a dark horse at this point. But Melikar, Martinez, and Ellen Perez are certainly coming into the U.S. Open in really top form. I believe they're maybe the 10 or 11 seed. I need to look at the draw again.
11, I believe. Yeah.
11. So that, you could potentially count that as a lower seeded.
10. You're right. 10. I'm sorry.
But they're 12-2 in their last 3 events. They made the finals in Toronto and Cincinnati, and then they just won in Cleveland. So they're certainly coming in with a lot of confidence. So expect them to do well.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they do, if they can keep that momentum, because I know that they're, I was a little surprised after making the finals in Toronto and Cincinnati that they played Cleveland, but then I looked at the standings for the year-end finals and they're like right there, like they need a few more points. And if they can get to the, quarters or semis, that might be able to get them over the edge to get into that top 8. Or even get to the finals and win the thing. Well, let's see. So my dark horse pick would be, I'm just scrolling through the draw here. How about, I want to kind of pick an All-American team again, but that's partly selfish of me. I actually do really like the team of Bouzkova and Siegmund. Laura Siegmund won the US Open back in 2020 with Vera Zvonareva, and she won Miami earlier this year with Vera Zvonareva as well. And she's another great net player. I did the scouting for Melikar and Shu against them in the 2020 US Open final, and I remember watching her at the net, and yeah, she was tough to game plan against. She was very, very good at the net. And Bouzkova's had a pretty decent doubles career as well. She's played a lot with Hrdečka, and I imagine learned a lot of double strategy and tactics from her. They do play Xu and Yang in the first round, which is a very tough matchup. But if they get past that, I would not be surprised at all to see them make a decent run here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another great first round matchup that I don't think we had mentioned yet. And I remember watching Bouzkova and Indian Wells against Jessie Pegula really just kind of tore to pieces in that third set. So that was really, I had heard of Bouzkova before, but I'd never seen her in person and was just really impressed that she was able to pick apart someone like Jessie Pegula, who's been one of the best players on tour this year. And she really just took it to her. And then also recently won her first, I believe is her first WTA title in front of a home crowd in the Czech Republic earlier this summer. So she's coming in with some good form also.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, yeah, this was a lot of fun, Hanlon. Yeah, we're going to try to do.
Sorry. mixed
Yeah, go.
doubles.
Oh, let's
Our
do mixed.
I don't think the draw's out, but Desiree Kravitz is going for her 5th mixed doubles major in 8 attempts. And she's
Fifth
also
in
trying to defend her US Open title from last year.
Is it 5th in 8 or 5th in 7? I think it's in 7. She's
Oh,
won
you're right.
4 of
It's 7.
6. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah. 5th and 7. Even more impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
So she is,
Unbelievable.
kind of becoming the mixed doubles specialist if there is one. I know there's only really mixed at the slams and exhibitions.
Yeah.
But she's really been impressive in the mixed doubles field, both with Neil Skupski and Joe Salisbury.
Yeah, yeah, and that'll start up. I don't think that starts till week 2. I think it'll start Sunday maybe, next week. So yeah, definitely watch the mixed doubles draw as well. That's yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch that as well. So anyways, yeah, thanks Hanlon again for hopping on. Thanks everyone for listening. Definitely watch as much of the doubles as you can at the US Open. I'll include it in the newsletter this week, directions on how to watch. I think it'll all be on the ESPN app. And you might have to sign up for like a 7-day free trial or something, or you pay the $7 or $10 for a month and just cancel after that. But it's well worth it during these majors to have the subscription and watch stream as much doubles as you can. So
watch more doubles.
Watch more doubles, everyone. Thanks again for listening, and I will talk to you in the next episode. If you want to become a smarter doubles player and start winning more matches, then join the Tennis Tribe Doubles Strategy newsletter. Every single Thursday, I'll send you a new doubles tip or tactic that you can use in your very next match. And when you join, you're going to get a free guide on how to play with more confidence and start dominating at the net in doubles. My name's Will, I'm the founder of the Tennis Tribe, and over the last 5 years, I've worked with players at every level of the game, from USTA 3.0 players all the way to Division I college programs, as well as some of the top 10 doubles players in the world. And on Thursdays, with this strategy newsletter, I share that knowledge and advice that I've gained over the years with you. So to sign up, you can go to thetennistribe.com. And again, you'll get that free net play guide when you join.